What is going on, everybody? My Astra Militarum Scion, Tempestus Scion army list finally lost. My super good, just kind of take one of everything, undefeated Scions lost twice this last weekend. Once to Necrons and then once to a Khorne demon slash Khorne Berserker army. I believe they are called World Eaters. So I had been playing with my Scions just because I have a bunch of them that I got in a trade, and I bought a bunch, and they're just put together in plastic, so they're, even though they're not painted, I don't have to worry about these stupid metal Vostroyans chipping and everything before I get them sealed and painted and everything. So the Vostroyans are taking a lot of time, and that's caused me to play my Scions a few times now because I've been wanting to try out some stuff. Currently I'm working on some Imperial Knights. You can see I got the Deathwatch one almost finished, and he's looking pretty cool. So playing with the Scions, my plan or strategy in list building was take a unit with grenade launchers, hotshot volley guns, plasma guns, another unit with plasma guns, melta guns, and I think that's it. So I have 50 Scions. I wanted to do 4 of every special weapon in each squad. Then I have 3 Taurox primes, 2 with Gatling guns and hotshots, 1 with the missiles and autocannons. Then I have a tank commander fully decked out with the Punisher Gatling gun, multi-melta sponsons, las cannon in the hull, and then 3 autocannon Leman Russ tanks with triple heavy bolter. And that's just because I like playing with the Leman Russes. So I have enough to do an all Scion army, but I did want to play with my Leman Russes too. And this is a good way to practice or getting familiar with my units as I'm working on the Vostroyans. Little side note, Vostroyans are gone off the market, right? So they are removed from GW's website. They don't look like they'll be coming back. And if the opportunity arises where I can just make a little profit on the Vostroyans, and how much I'm kind of disliking dealing with these metal ones. I got quite a few painted already, but I wouldn't mind maybe switching to, say, the Cadian models and then painting them to match my Scions, or maybe swapping all their heads to my extra Adeptus Mechanicus heads, and then just using them as Vostroyans, but they would be plastic, and that's way, way better than these metal ones. So we'll have to decide on that. We'll cross that road at some point. It would be cool to sell the painted Vostroyans when I'm all done with them and maybe make some good money. Maybe not per hour or nothing, but it would be nice to make some money, get rid of the metal ones and bring in maybe some plastic ones. I don't know, right? So something that's been crossing my mind a lot because I've been putting a lot of work into this Deathwatch Knights. I've been working on my Deathwatch Primaris guys, and I haven't been working much on my metal Vostroyans. Meaning, I don't like working with the metal ones that much, right? So, or we'll go through different things in this hobby. So who knows? Maybe I'll come back to them. And I am, after I finish some of these. After I get this Deathwatch Knight cleared and a couple more of these Primaris Deathwatch guys, I'm going to work on a little batch of like 10 more of the Vostroyans and maybe just try and speed paint them quite a bit faster now that I have a lot more of the colors picked out on the previous ones I've done. So the Tempestus Scions are pretty cool. This would be the first... Well, I've played Lucius in Adeptus Mechanicus and now the Scions. The big FAQ, no deep strike on turn 1, hurts kind of a lot. But you still get a deep strike, so both games I went second. One day I'll go first, and that'll be cool. Actually, I played them 3 games. I played Death Guard too, and that went really well for me. But and we were playing just open war silliness, both the Necrons and the Death Guard against my Scions. 2 different games, but we did open war, so kind of silly games. So both against my losses against the Necrons and against the World Eaters, I went second, which is a big deal because that means they're right up close. I don't have any more turns to wait. They're the first ones who get a deep strike out of their deployment zone, so 30 blood letters or whatever. And that's a big deal for a deep strike army. Not only do I not get to do it outside of my deployment zone on first turn, they've already done everything and I'm pinned into my deployment zone by the second turn, basically. So both games on turn 1, I just deep strike everything pretty much into my own deployment zone just to create some kind of buffer and put a lot of firepower out onto all the units that advance up. And it is insane how much killing power these Scion guys have, especially with the plasma guns. They are rapid fire, hitting on 3s, 6s, shooting again. I mean, I had 4 rapid fire plasma guns overcharge and kill a bloat drone in my game against the Death Guard. Just drop in, order them to reroll wounds against vehicles, I think I did, and maybe something along those lines, and just blew it up. Like, he had bad saves, but it was crazy. I didn't think 4 of them could. The hotshot volley guns seem cool until you realize you have to move every turn, and you're always hitting on a -1, which means you can never trigger an extra shot because your 6s become 5s, and I'm pretty sure it's not unmodified 6s on their special chapter tactic. So maybe if you took them as more of a heavy bolter devastator squad, just standing in some terrain in your own deployment zone, like maybe a little 4-man squad with just 4 hot shots or something, or a 5-man squad with 2 hot shots just for kind of some extra fire. I don't know. My army has no screen whatsoever. That also made me have to drop everything around my Leman Russes and stuff, because once they're touched, a lot of that means you're dead. But it was super fun. The grenade launchers were cool. Like, they didn't do anything special that would make me want them, besides that they look cool, right? And in the Melt-A-Gun squad, they were the first to get dropped, and I went to just 1 Melt-A-Gun. I had to drop 3 of them because I was a little over on points, and when I was making the quick army list idea. So the 1 Melt-A-Gun guy, he was cool. He's just running around doing his thing. Pretty cool. The little Torox trucks are kind of cool. They put out a lot of shots. Even the missile ones seem pretty effective. It's got enough shots with the 4 autocannons and the 2 crack missiles that your opponent can't ignore it, but it's got 48-inch range, so it gets to park way in the back. So they don't want to ignore it, but it's also not the most expensive target when you have 4 Leman Russes to shoot at as well. I will have to build maybe some more Torox primes to try an all Scion army, because currently I only have 3 built, and I just got some more iGuard tanks. I got a Manticore and a Hellhound, and I haven't had a chance to play with those yet. I just got those. I bought those off a guy, and they're painted up blue for his I guess they were kind of like his ultramarine allies, so I'll have to reprime over those. But like I said, all I got is about 30 iGuard guys done. None of my Scions done and stuff, so we're a bit of a ways off on really cranking out this whole army. One thing I could see, based on just the fun factor, right? The Scions are cool. They especially when you put the orders on them and they're rerolling ones to hit, so they're hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. They got a lot of special weapons. They got a few stratagems. You can throw a bunch of grenades, turn their hot shots into double rapid fire. But when they do all that, when they deep strike, a lot of their guns aren't in rapid fire range, which is a bummer, because you need to be 9 inches away and you're 9.01 inches away. So that's what makes the plasma guns kind of stand out, is because they can still be in half range of 12, and still trigger extra shots, and they're still strong and have a high damage output. So just some thoughts on the Tempestus Scions. I think they're super cool. They may be a little highly costed, like quite a bit. I think 8 or 9 points even would be a nice drop for them. Especially because they raised all their little Torox trucks. They raised all the points on those in Chapter Approved. They raised the points on some of their weapons in Chapter Approved. And I don't know if they really feel like that strong, because you're talking like a 27 point human with toughness 3, I think, when they have like a plasma gun, so it's pretty expensive real quick. I see the joy of playing a Highguard army that just has 6 10-man infantry squads with no upgrades, or maybe you just give them little minimal upgrades, because that gives you all your screens and stuff, and then you get to jump into all your fun stuff. So hopefully we'll get to that point. Also with the Vostroyans, I think I only have 50 when it would be all said and done. If I had built and painted every one of mine, I would only have 50, and I don't know. Maybe if I dropped it to just 30 and then did 30 Cadians with Highguard heads and then got rid of the extra 20 Vostroyans, that could be a way to maybe speed up this process, because it takes so long. You have to file so much of the metal, because any part that's still left sharp on a metal miniature, the paint is chipping off immediately. So you want to smooth out a lot of edges, and then you got to really make sure you're priming and getting like in all the little armpits and nooks and crannies. And maybe I'm overthinking it. It's not like I'm going to compete in a Golden Demon, but yet. But when I paint an army, I like to at least assume I have a chance at best painted, at least in a smaller event. If you go to like Adepticon or something, it turns out there are some real big time nice painted armies. Like when I brought my Admech to Adepticon, the level to compete in best painted was very high. I don't know what I ranked or whatever with my army. I didn't have a display board, so it didn't look super spectacular. And so that was eye-opening, like how much you actually have to put in if you want to try and win, say, best painted at a major event, which would be very cool to shoot for. And maybe, I was going to say maybe my Death Watch could, but at the same time I'm trying to speed paint them a little bit. So although they have some cool effects, let's see if you can see this. No, you can't. They have some cool effects and stuff, but they're not, perfectly cleanly done in every, little tiny detail. And I think that's what you're going to need to do for best painted. But anyway, so the Undefeated Scion army strategy of taking just a little bit of everything to learn what some of the stuff does is no more. I learned that the Necrons were very resilient. I've learned that a few times now. You feel like when you're playing against Necrons, you have the firepower to just blow through some of those units, and they're banking on that their Wraith unit's going to absorb a ton of firepower, and there's no way to kill them or whatever. And then you can, but it only takes like in our game, I think I put 7 or 8 overcharged plasma gun wounds into a unit of Wraiths or Destroyers. I think the Destroyers had a 5-up invuln from some special character. Or it could have been the Wraiths with the 3-up, whatever it was. I think it was a 5-up. Like, let's say 7 overcharged plasma guns into a unit of Destroyers with a 5-up invuln, and then they make 6 out of 7 saves. And that's what kills you on Necrons, because you have to get, if they get a lucky roll, and I'm not saying like this is the one deciding factor, but Necrons, when they get a lucky armor save or invuln save roll, it is devastating, because most armies, they're not, well, every other army's just not returning, right? They're not coming back. You can't leave one Wraith or one destroyer and then have 4 more, come back to the unit. It's just a, terrible idea. You have to finish off the units. So it's kind of like the opposite. If you were like a Custodes player and you had a really bad armor save roll, you're going to feel it really bad. Whereas if you're playing against Necrons and they have a really good armor save roll, it's going to hurt a lot. So that's just something to think about. It's surprising how much damage the Scion army puts out with the 4 Leman Russes. The Scions are pretty insanely, like, they have a lot of damage output. The Leman Russes too. I field 3 of the twin autocannon Leman Russes with triple heavy bolters, mainly because I never see anybody use those ones and I think they look cool. So they've been doing work, right? Like, there's no, you put quantum shielding or things like that out there, and it, these 2 damage autocannons plow right through. So I'll be excited to try out these new Helverins with the 3 damage autocannons and 4d3 shots. I think they're going to have a place in a lot of armies. So just some fun things to think about there for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and will subscribe. We'll be doing a giveaway because we have reached 200 subscribers. That'll be announced on Friday, so please subscribe so you can come back and watch whatever video I put up on Friday for my giveaway. If you want to check out my eBay, I'm selling a lot of Sisters of Battle bits and stuff right now, so definitely check that out. If you are, they're expensive, so don't think if you're looking for a good deal, I'm not doing a good deal on my Sisters of Battle stuff. I'm trying to get like maximum top dollar for it. So, sorry, but there will be a giveaway. If you want to email me any pictures of your finished miniatures, I do some kind of art critique videos, and those are fun to do. I like talking about painting. And if you can't find people in real life to talk to about painting and artwork, what better way than just talking into a little microphone, staring at other people's painted miniatures on the internet? So, also in the comment section below, we always have some little good chats down there, and I try to reply to like everybody. So, thank you all for watching. Super happy I broke 200 subscribers. We only need like 800 more. And then, I don't know, I guess I get like $1 million or something, so that's going to be great.